Local, live. Now from Central Oregon's news leader, this is Beyond the Score with Dylan Anderman, presented by Central Tire.
Hello, Central Oregon. Welcome to Beyond the Score. Tonight, I'm wearing a special jersey. No, I'm not a Patriots fan. I'm a Carolina Panthers fan. I should probably throw my Panthers jersey away in the trash after the Panthers' pathetic performance today. But for some reason, I continue to believe, and I hope all you do in your teams as well. And with the beginning of the NFL season today, we have a special NFL story for you. There are many former pro athletes who live in Bend. That's why I'm wearing this jersey. That's why it's special. It's the one and the only Drew Bledsoe, who was one of my high school football coaches. Pretty awesome stuff. I asked him for his autograph when he was my coach. Fun fact. But that also includes Super Bowl champion Kevin Boss. Boss continues to grow his business here in Bend, and he has helped so many athletes, including myself, along the way.
Was really fortunate when I was a freshman in high school. Had one of my football coaches kind of take me under his wing and showed me the weight room.
Kevin Boss is not just a Super Bowl champion. He's become a helping hand for athletes in Central Oregon through Boss Sports Performance, a training facility for athletes of all ages. And his journey to run his own gym started in Philomath, Oregon, where Boss grew up playing basketball and football.
I was like a basketball player and trying to go play college basketball, and honestly, it wasn't until my senior year, my last game of my high school football career, walking off the field, just lost in the first round of the playoffs, and one of my coaches came and literally walking off the field, put his arm around me and said, "You know what, Kevin, I don't think this should be your last football game." And I was like, no, like basketball season's coming up. I'm playing college basketball after that. And, but it just kind of planted a seed in my head where like, I was like, oh, maybe he's right.
From there, he went to Western Oregon where he played both sports.
I'm playing two different sports and then, yeah, it was like quickly realized like, oh, wow, like I have a much better chance of going to the NFL than the NBA. And so at that point, like, pretty early on, I like set the goal of like, man, I would love to get the chance to go play at the next level, and started to, get some attention with having some, decent stats early on in my college career.
All to lead him to the NFL, a road like no other.
Medically got failed by all 32 teams at the NFL Combine, and went back for rechecks like a month later. Got failed by 31 out of the 32 teams medically, and the Giants were the one team that liked me enough to take a chance on me and kind of looked past the bum shoulder that I had.
Boss was drafted by the New York Giants in 2007.
I remember a linebacker, John Beeson. I tried to go block him at the second level, and he hit me so hard that I just was like, it was my like welcome to the NFL moment, like very first preseason game. I was like, whoa, these guys hit harder than Division II football players do. And so, but yeah, I remember like walking onto the field, for the first time. I played against, playing in Western Oregon, played in front of like, on a good day, maybe 1,500 people, if that, so to play in front of a packed, 80,000 people stadium, like I was nervous, I was super nervous.
In his rookie year, he was part of the Super Bowl victory over the undefeated New England Patriots.
The Super Bowl was like on another level of like nerves, like I don't know, if I slept much the night before, but it was honestly one of the greatest and cool experiences that I'll ever feel, stepping onto that field and running out onto the field with your teammates.
A moment he will never forget. But playing tight end in the National Football League wasn't what he was meant to do. After a concussion in 2013, Boss decided he needed to retire from the game he loved.
Yeah, it's a hard pill to swallow, of like knowing that all that time you've put into the sport, and you try to say, oh, my identity is not wrapped up in being a football player, but like it kind of is.
One door closed, but another one opened, because that's when his coaching journey began.
as soon as I was done playing football, I was able to use those same, work ethic and consistency and just determination. I was able to put all that into my next career, and I think that's helped my business become successful as well.
He's in the gym during the day, but once school gets out, Boss is now the head football coach at Pacific Crest Middle School. It's the first year of tackle football for most of the kids, and Boss has one main goal on his mind.
I want them all to want to play next year. That's what I sat down preseason before the season started with my little coaching staff of other dads is hey, our goal, I don't really care about winning and losing 7th grade football games. It's let's make sure that all the kids want to play 8th grade football.
From a player to helping others live the same dream, Boss wants to continue to help the athletic community one rep at a time.
It was, like I said, a wild journey, but something that I'm just really just proud of, but also it changed my life in terms of instilling some things in me as far as what the game of football instills in young men, and that's why I'm excited to coach it now, and instill those characteristics into the next generation of football players.
Boss has helped dozens of local athletes reach the collegiate level, and he has trained several professional athletes as well. He coaches his son at Pacific Crest, and they are NFL fans. To this day, Boss and his family, they root for the Giants, of course, but they unfortunately lost today. And for all our Seahawks fans, Seattle fell to the 49ers. A nice little rivalry, 17-13. And to all the Bend, Oregon Raider Nation fans, congrats, because the Raiders started the season 1-0 as they beat this team right here, the Patriots, 20-13.